Hi, I'm Kay Walter. At Bergen Community College, we believe that all citizens need to be informed about the important issues that affect their lives. That's why we're proud to support the programming produced by the CAUCUS Educational Corporation and their partners in public television.
Funding for this edition of One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been provided by Bergen Community College, TD Bank, KESSLER Foundation, changing the lives of people with disabilities, MAGNACARE, Johnson & Johnson, Cohn Resnick, Accounting, Tax and Advisory, where forward thinking creates results, and by Adler Aphasia Center, helping stroke and brain injury survivors recover their speech. Promotional support provided by Meadowlands Regional Chamber, building essential connections that drive business growth, and by NJ Biz, all business, all New Jersey.
This is One-on-One. I'm an equal American just like you are.
The jobs of tomorrow are not the jobs of yesterday.
Look at this. You got this?
Here it is, man. Look at that.
Life without dance is boring.
When you first heard that they were doing Charlie Rose and Gayle King, didn't you go, what?
Do you enjoy talking politics?
No. People call me because they feel nobody's paying attention.
Our culture, I don't think, has ever been tested the way it's being tested right now.
Such a good question. High five.
Hi, I'm Steve Adubato. We're pleased to welcome back our good friend, Dr. Larry Nespoli, who is the president, New Jersey Council of County Colleges. Good to see you, Larry.
Good morning.
And you guys are involved in something very interesting. How many colleges, by the way, are we talking?
19 community colleges, one in every county, about 400,000 students strong. It's a great success story in New Jersey.
How many years have you been around?
Myself
No,
personally?
not you. No, I'm talking about the county colleges.
That wasn't a question I was expecting. Community colleges are creatures of the late 1960s,
Right.
1970s, so about 50 years.
Okay, but there's a change here, a sea change, which is why we have you here. Well, also, this is our one-on-one set, but we'll air this on Capitol Report as well, because this is a public policy question as well. You are shifting from the two-year model, talk about, to the baccalaureate side, bachelor's degrees.
Steve, we've chatted a number of times over the years, and I have to say today, right now, I could not be more excited and enthusiastic about this new message, the community college bachelor's degree. But let me set it up and take just a few seconds to do that, to tell the community college story. It's really three colleges in one. One, you want to get a bachelor's degree, go to your local community college, you can transfer. Two, if you want entree to the job market more quickly, go to the local community college for a technical program, respiratory therapy, dental hygiene, IT and computers, you can do that. And three, continuing education. Any one of us can take a couple of courses to improve our skills in the marketplace. So let's circle back to that first one now, because that's what I really am so excited to talk about. We think the time has come for community colleges to offer bachelor's degrees themselves.
But push back in this way. We've had so many programs with you, Larry, with the four-year colleges, together with the county colleges partnering. You've had such a great partnering relationship where someone goes to the two-year college that may, for whatever reason, not have been able to go into the four-year situation. And then they've transitioned to the four-year school, and it's been seamless, it's been great, and now you're changing the model.
We're tweaking the model.
Okay,
and
make the case.
By the way, 20-some other states have done this. So
hold on, 20 other states have
a community college bachelor's degree. So this is
New Jersey's not the first.
Not by a stretch the first. So again, this is an idea whose time has come. So let's drill down just a little bit. You're right. The partnerships with our senior colleges, we cherish. We bring them to our campuses so that students who want to stay on our campus to get that junior and senior year, that's all good. And by the way, we're proud in New Jersey, we've passed legislation that guarantee that the credits of community college students are accepted. You graduate from a community college, you're guaranteed junior status. All good.
You go from your sophomore to junior year, guaranteed.
Guaranteed, by law. That's a big deal. But now there are cases where, and we'll talk maybe a little bit about nursing as an example, where the employers, the hospitals in this case, they're now saying they want baccalaureate nurses. And we can do that, and here's something I want to get on the table right up front. For about $20,000 a year, we can offer the full 4 years. Now think about that. $20,000, not per year, for the 4 years.
20 grand for the 4 years?
That's right. Now, tell me what I'm missing here. This is a wonderful opportunity and a pathway for students to an affordable bachelor's degree.
But wow, this is interesting because a lot of schools, 20 grand 1 year,
That's right.
20 grand 4 years with a bachelor's degree.
That's
Go back
absolutely
to the
right.
nursing piece. Because Stephen Rose over at Passaic, we're actually taping in Patterson, part of
One of our best.
Yeah, Passaic County. He was actually with our sister program, the NJTV News, with Mary Alice Williams, talking about this exact subject, because I believe the nursing baccalaureate degree is being offered at Passaic.
Not yet. They have
It's
proposed.
not because it hasn't been approved. By the way,
That's
how does
right.
this get approved?
Well, in long story short, the Secretary of Higher Education in New Jersey gets to make that decision. And so the proposal from Passaic and a like proposal from Union County College are on the Secretary's desk.
Not legislation, not the governor signing off, not executive order, but the head of higher ed in New Jersey.
The current law provides this pathway for colleges, community colleges in this case, to make a request for a proposal that exceeds their mission, so to speak. In the same way that baccalaureate schools have gotten the Secretary's approval to offer a doctor program. Not the same, but similar.
Doctor, what would it mean, in your opinion, to a whole range of students who right now may be having trouble? By the way, we're going to make sure we have some folks on the four-year side give their perspective on this, on Capitol Report, give them
Sure.
an opportunity as well. What do you think it could mean to some students right now who are struggling on the affordability side?
Well, we know factually that many community college students want the bachelor's degree. Let's continue to talk about nursing, need that bachelor's degree, but for whatever reasons, they won't find the wherewithal to get to the senior college. Now, we've been in the nursing education business and have been doing it well for 40, 50 years.
On the two-year side?
On the two-year side, with great success, but in response to the call from employers for the bachelor's degree, it's time to move on this.
What would it mean in terms of the current infrastructure? I hate using that word on television because people think roads, bridges. No, that's not what I mean. The internal infrastructure, the staff infrastructure, the faculty infrastructure. Right now, the two-year community and county colleges are set up to be who you are. What would you have to do to have the infrastructure, the faculty, the staff, to gear up for the baccalaureate degree?
Well, let's stick with nursing. Right now, we have the infrastructure for the nursing clinical sites and the teaching the nursing courses. So the junior and senior year that we are proposing to offer is largely, there are some nursing courses, community health, nursing leadership, but it's largely gen ed. So by and large, the more expensive part, general education courses, the psych and the social and so forth, we're already doing the toughest, most expensive start. But, you know, with anything, Steve, change comes slowly, and my father was a trustee for some 30 years in Pennsylvania, a successful businessman, and he used to say over the holidays, Larry, why is it that higher education folks, faculty, administrators, while they tend to lean in a more liberal direction, if you will, in their own politics, when it comes to their own business of higher ed, my goodness, they're arch conservatives, and he's right.
Translate that.
We
arch
don't
conservatives.
like changing the higher ed model as an industry.
Sorry for interrupting, Larry. Do you think this is ultimately on the four-year side? And again, we'll give those folks a chance to represent their point of view and look forward to that. Do you think it's that they just don't want the competition?
Well, you'd have to ask them that question. You know, they are great partners of us, but
What do you mean by conservative, though?
Well, it is changing the model of delivering higher education services.
So they're just
in
saying
New Jersey.
stay the way it is, status quo.
But I want to be clear, community colleges have no interest in becoming a state college. We're not going to see community colleges offering bachelor's degrees in the traditional arts and sciences, political science, a bachelor's in
What else
history.
other than nursing, though?
Technical programs, respiratory care, culinary arts. Technical areas where we already are in that space, and employers are now saying we want the bachelor's degree. And
Not psychology.
Not
political science.
Exactly.
Good to clarify that. Before I let you go, you know, you and I talk about leadership all the time because you've been in a leadership position, you're challenged dealing in the state legislature with other government officials and your colleagues, let's say. In the years that you've been doing what you're doing, on the negotiating side, let's just say, the number one leadership lesson you learned about negotiating skills?
Negotiating skills and leadership at large, I would say enthusiasm and energy. Bring enthusiasm and energy to the task. Leaders have to be smart. All good leaders are smart. All good leaders work hard, are persistent to get to the next step and ultimately the accomplishment of the goal. But as I look around at the most accomplished leaders, those who bring energy and excitement, passion, if you will, to the task. That's a great leader.
Compromise a good thing, bad thing?
You got to meet in the middle. Yeah.
We got to learn that in New Jersey, don't we?
Indeed.
Dr. Larry Nespoli has been with us many times teaching us about what's happening at the two-year colleges, the community county colleges, the president of the New Jersey Council of County Colleges. Larry, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Stay with us. We'll be right back right after this. Thanks, Larry.
To see more one-on-one with Steve Adubato programs, visit us online at steveadubato.org. If you would like to express an opinion, email us at info@caucusnj.org. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Steve Adubato PhD and follow us on Twitter at Steve Adubato.
At the New Jersey Education Association 2015 convention, you get to talk to some of the most interesting people, and we're about to meet one of them right now. Brigadier General Alberto Rosende is the NJEA Award for Excellence recipient this year, and we are honored to speak to you, General, and I want to thank you first for your service to our country and congratulate you on this award, which means a lot to you, I know.
Oh, absolutely. Well, thank you very much for welcoming me here, and I think it's an honor to be here with the NJEA. When I was called about the award, I was kind of flabbergasted because you just go along your life just doing the things that you need to do, take the next hit, move on and move on. So to be recognized by the New Jersey Education Association for excellence in anything, I think is pretty outstanding. And I'm really just pleased and really humbled by this award.
People who are recognized because they come from the public schools and they have achieved great things. Talk about your experience in the public schools.
Well, I had a great experience in the public school. When I was in elementary school, I came from a Catholic school, but I switched over at about 7th grade. And my transition was pretty smooth. I think that the faculty and the student body was fabulous. You know, as growing up as a young kid, you always have friction somewhere. But by and large, it was a fabulous experience, and it really set the platform for what I've done in the rest of my life. I think fondly back on the school, and this year we had our 35th high school reunion, and I got to see a lot of our old cronies, and they're all wonderful people.
Some teachers really made a difference for you?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I know that particularly, I was the Key Club president my senior year, and so I had a very close relationship.
It's a service organization.
Correct. It's a service organization, a junior organization of the Kiwanis clubs. And Mr. Basner, who was the sponsor, made a really big difference in my life as we worked through lots of projects. And I learned a lot from his mentorship, as well as our class advisor, Mrs. Soderstrom, as well. I remember those two particularly. And when I was a sophomore, I ran cross country, and Coach Mike Matthews was extremely profound. And just a lot of the small lessons that you learn that you realize stay with you for the rest of your life.
Isn't it amazing how you never forget those teachers?
Oh, absolutely. You think of them very often. You wonder what they're doing now. And I just heard that Mrs. Soderstrom just retired when I went to the reunion this past summer. And I got to see Coach Mike Matthews. So it's true that they're with you a lot of the time.
What did they teach you?
I had math with Mrs. Soderstrom. Mr. Basner was history. Coach Matthews was just my cross-country coach. But I know that he taught at Leavitt, and then he moved on to Willingboro after I was gone. But they taught me more than just what you learned in the class. They taught you about hard work. They taught you about being persistent, about having confidence in your own abilities to be able to meet the challenges that you face and be able to overcome them as long as you have the confidence in what you've learned, because you can get over any hurdle.
I asked your colleague, your general colleague, who also won this award for excellence, what does this uniform mean to you?
Well, this uniform is really the representation of the United States as far as I'm concerned. It really is the red, white, and blue personified. Maybe not to me personally when I wear it, but when I wear it, I'm extremely proud. But as I see other soldiers, as I see other service members, as they walk around, that's what they do. They represent the United States, and they represent what I think is the best of the United States.
I'm not going to get political, but I am going to ask you about our veterans. What do they deserve from us?
Well, I think that veterans, they join the service wanting to do something that's bigger than themselves. They want to contribute to the United States and the history of the United States and everything. So I think that they do deserve our support as they either make their transition or as they continue on in their service. So it's important for us to always recognize the commitment and the sacrifices that they make to serve our nation, and that we owe them that debt of gratitude. So we do need to ensure that they have the facilities to be able to make that transition and be welcomed back into civilian life, if you want to call it that, and be able.
Are we doing enough?
I think that's one of those questions that we can always do more. I think everyone can always do more. So I think I'd rather leave it at that. We can always do more.
Yeah, we can do more. But I would ask you this because you know something about leadership. You're pursuing a doctorate in the field of executive leadership.
Yes, sir.
Where?
At George Washington University in Washington, D.C.
Why?
There's thirst for knowledge, thirst to continue to become more professional, to really understand what you think you know. When you realize you start studying it, you don't know anything about it other than the practice of it. But there's the fundamental and I guess the theoretical background behind it that you want to get an understanding of, so that hopefully you can be able to refine your own leadership and then be able to understand how you can influence others and help them and mentor them along to become better leaders, and to understand that it's not just about the leader, because without the follower out there, there is no leadership, right? So it takes both parties to move forward.
People who followed us on public television, FiOS, are familiar with this question. I spent the last couple of years of my life off the air teaching, coaching in the field of leadership, and finishing a book called Lessons in Leadership. And I've asked many of our guests who I think are in a position to respond to these two questions, and I have to do it with you, General. Number one leadership lesson you have learned so far, be it in the military, in life, you take your pick. Number one leadership lesson so far is?
It's not about you, it's about them. It's about the people you lead. It's about getting the best out of them. It's about motivating them, understanding what they need to make sure that they're maximizing and optimizing their contribution to the organization. So really, it's focusing on them. So leadership is really looking at them and seeing what gets them to their endpoint, to their goal, to their satisfaction.
Number one leadership challenge.
I think the number one leadership challenge is recognizing that sometimes people are in the wrong positions, they're in the wrong spot, and trying to help them find the right spot and move them. Making the decision to move someone out of a position, especially if they're in a position of leadership, I think is the most challenging. Because at the end of the day, you don't want to shoot them down. What you want to do is be able to move them somewhere, help them understand and recognize that maybe they don't have the competency levels at that point in time to live to that position or the requirements of that position. And so moving them on while keeping them motivated to continue to move forward is a real challenge.
That's not easy. Jim Collins talked about that in his book, Good to Great. Right. You know the book, right? I knew he would know this. He said there's a bus and you're the bus driver, and metaphorically, and you have to move people to the right seats, and sometimes you have to escort them off the bus if they're not the right people. But devil's advocate, I got to pressure on this. What happens if you move them to a different seat because you don't think they're in the right seat, and they don't like you for it, they're angry at you for it, and you know, it's not comfortable, you say?
I'm sorry, that's just the way.
Is that leadership?
Absolutely. I think that leadership is being able to get through those difficult friction, volatile Confrontations, absolutely. I think to be a strong leader, I don't think that you need to look for confrontation, but you can't be afraid and walk away from confrontation. It's how you approach the situation and how you've studied the situation to be able to approach it in the right manner that's the most important part.
Well said, General. Thank you for, being here, being recognized by the NJEA, but most importantly, for your service to our country. Thank you, General.
Absolutely. It's my pleasure. Thank you very much, Steve. Really appreciate it.
To see more one-on-one with Steve Adubato programs, visit us online at steveadubato.org. If you would like to express an opinion, email us at info@caucusnj.org. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Steve Adubato PhD, and follow us on Twitter at Steve Adubato.
We are pleased to welcome Dr. Karen Blitz, Medical Director of Rehabilitation Services at Holy Name Medical Center. Good to see you, Doctor.
Glad to be here.
You're here to talk about something called neurorehabilitation. What is it? You're at a cocktail party, someone says, neurorehabilitation, doctor, so what is that?
It's the rehabilitation of people with neurological conditions.
Such as?
So someone who has something like stroke or Parkinson's disease, multiple sclerosis, just a simple neuropathy, any issue that can cause a problem with functioning. And what we do is we look at what the deficits are, and we attempt to either optimize their functioning by increasing their balance, increasing their strength, or compensate for for what the issue is. So if they have a speech or cognition problem, we can use compensatory strategies.
Whoa, 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 compensatory strategies.
Okay, so if someone can't remember things, the simple answer is they have to be aware that they have this issue. And then we can have them write lists, we can have them set alarms, we can do things even to assist with their memory. If someone has difficulty with speech, there are training techniques to speak better. If someone has a drop foot, where they're walking and tripping on their foot because of weakness or neuropathy, we can brace them. And once the brace is on, they're no longer tripping on that foot and they're conserving energy, their gait is normal, and their risk is less for fall. But simple stuff like canes, somebody who has difficulty walking or decreased balance. Initially, people are very uncomfortable with the idea of a cane, but as soon as you give it to them, their walking is faster, they're able to do more things, and they're better. Same thing with a walker. Some people need a walker. And you know, my big problem is I say to somebody, you need a walker and I'll get you much better. Oh, no, I can't use a walker. But in fact, people look at people less when they're walking fast with a walker then compared to when they're teetering without the walker.
So what's so interesting about this is you've told our producers, and you also said this to others, that intervening early on is critical when there's an issue. Because?
Well, because we're afraid that without the intervention, someone's going to fall. And what this fall does is this downward spiral, especially as people get older. You know, someone finds that they fall. They don't want to tell their family member because they're afraid that they're going to be restricted. Someone is going to tell them to do something that they don't want to do. So what they do on their own accord is stay home. Don't go out as much, don't exercise. Their world becomes smaller, and then they become deconditioned and they fall more. So it's a spiral that occurs and the other thing is that the family member of the older person is afraid to notice it. Oh, my mother's getting old. No, my mother isn't getting old. So it becomes like an issue where no one wants to look at the reality.
I know my parents, my dad's going to get mad at me doing this. He does watch one-on-one on a regular basis. We're in the park over this weekend. Beautiful Brookdale Park in Essex County. And my mom gets around just fine. My dad's a little bit slower. And so we're going down this hill. It wasn't like a hill, but it was going down, and I get concerned about his balance. So I put my arm out from home, and he kept pushing it away because he's a bit stubborn. Kept pushing it away, but I didn't like the idea of him going down there, and I just grabbed his arm. But here's my point. I thought to myself, literally yesterday, as we were walking in the park, if he had that walker, it would have made it much easier. But I know my dad. There isn't a way in the world he would allow it. What do you do? I can't. If you knew my dad, you'd understand people watching who know him. It's ridiculous. It would never happen. He wouldn't accept it. What do you do?
You have someone else introduce the idea, their medical practitioner, or just have them go to physical therapy. So if we can refer them to physical therapy, number one, we can work on some of the underlying issues. Does he have a balance issue? Does he have a weakness issue? So we can fix that. The other thing is the physical therapist who develops a really good rapport with him can then introduce that. And then they can see the difference between walking without it and with it. And then you introduce it only when you're outside. So it's a step-by-step process.
What about in the home?
Some people need it, some people don't. My problem is that a lot of patients don't want to use any device in the home, and they tell me, I have no problem. But no problem means they're holding onto the walls. Or
that's a problem.
They're holding onto the shower curtain.
That's a problem.
Correct. And that's when they fall. Because they don't recognize that there are ways to make it simple. The other thing is making the home safe. People don't know about that. No rugs, having safety bars in the bathroom. Yes, older people should not have rugs. Easy to trip, and it also creates more rub, so it's more difficult for people who don't have good step length. They have a little more drag, and they're more likely to fall. But simple stuff, a grab bar. All hotels have grab bars, and it's amazing how many people use those bars in the shower or next to the chair to stand up or to stabilize themselves. If we had that routinely placed, or if people went for a routine after 65 assessment, so they could determine what would they need at home to make them perfectly safe.
Got to get ahead of it. Neurorehabilitation, some of the most significant advances in the last few years. Go ahead.
I think that we're using it more as the most advanced piece of thing that we're doing. There's lots of different things that go on with neurorehabilitation, but it's still the basic stuff. Exercise, finding the problem, and fixing the problem. The other thing now is that people have the ability to use scooters more. You know,
Scooters.
Those little mobility devices that sometimes you see
Excuse
in
me.
the great stores. People can get their own. I had a great MS patient who was a teacher, and she was finding it more and more difficult to get into the classroom. So she says, I think I'm going to go on disability. So we got her a scooter. It got her into the room. Once she was in the room, she was able to do her whole thing. And then at the end of the day, she scooted back. She continued to work until she was 65 years old.
But the key was getting into the room.
The key was that she walked very slowly. And that slow walk made it difficult for her. So she says, I can't go to work anymore. But we found a solution to the problem. And that's the whole idea, is allowing technology to solve some of these problems for us. It was a complete accident. I was a physical therapist in my first life. I became a neurologist, and a door opened with my mentor, who was a neurorehab doctor at NYU. And last minute, he moved, I moved, we got together, and I became an MS and neurorehab person.
How'd you get to Holy Name?
Holy Name has a really wonderful MS center. And I knew about Dr. Picone from the MS Center, and we had become friendly, and I wanted to introduce more rehab to Holy Name, so I'm doing MS and neurorehab at Holy Name, and it's the perfect marriage for me.
For you, it's so interesting, as I listen to you, as I watch you talking about this, your passion for this work and the people you serve is pretty powerful, it's palpable. Before I let you out of here, what's the most rewarding part about your work?
I think it's doing exactly what I said before. It's the person who says they're going to go on disability, I can make that not happen. It's the person who has a problem where they're not able to do something they want to do, and I can make them do what they want to do. It's the older person who comes in and says, I don't go to the store anymore, and he comes back to me and now he's going to the store
You're changing
again.
their lives.
Right. It's allowing them to have the best well-being they can have and the best access to the world. I have people who will stay home as opposed to try something new, and we can make it so that they don't have to stay home anymore if they listen and if they're open and if they're willing to do some therapy with us.
Dr. Karen Blitz, Medical Director of Rehabilitation Services at Holy Name Medical Center. You are not just helping people clinically, but improving the quality of their lives. Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you.
One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been a production of the CAUCUS Educational Corporation, celebrating over 25 years of broadcast excellence. Funding for this edition of One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been provided by Bergen Community College, TD Bank, KESSLER Foundation, MAGNACARE, Johnson & Johnson, Cone Resnick, and by Adler Aphasia Center. Transportation provided by Airbrook Limousine, serving the metropolitan New York, New Jersey area.
Hi, I'm Linda Bowden. Aphasia is a language disorder that occurs from a stroke or a brain injury. My dad had a neurological disorder that no one could diagnose. Although his intellect was intact, his speech was getting worse. Then we learned he had aphasia, and we saw firsthand how isolating it can be. It is possible to help those with aphasia improve their communication skills and regain the confidence to live their lives fully. If you or a loved one has been diagnosed with aphasia, there is hope.